Good morning, everyone. Sorry, as I was trying to log in, it was like Zoom updates. It's like, great, thank you. Let me spotlight that. Good morning, Judy. Hello, hello. All right. Okay, cool. I got my green tea. Um, I'm not sure if I showed everyone because I got it a while ago, and then I kind of put it on my kitchen shelf, and I wasn't actively using it. And I need to I was just like, I need to use it. I want to use it. So I took it out yesterday and I was like, all right, I'm gonna start using it more because it's so beautiful and it's just kind of sitting unused on my kitchen shelf. So this is uh this my tumbler and I absolutely love it. But yeah, I kind of forgot I owned it. I don't know if I'm alone in this with everyone. I don't know how many tumblers I have. Uh, gosh, I probably have a dozen. But most of them are like steel, like that, chrome or black or just like kind of very just like muted colors. And this is the brightest one. And I always just grab the ones that are at the front. And so yesterday when I was cleaning the kitchen and I was like dusting and I like pull this beautiful pink planty tumbler out and I'm like, I have not used this in a really long time. So now it's in the front. Now it's in the front. But absolutely, it was just that Target. Gosh, I think I got it like in October, November, something like that. It was around last fall. And I love it, and I love it. So I'm using it. I'm using it. Um, let's see. But good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending where you're tuning in from. Thank you, Diane. I'm feeling somewhat better. Really, my throat's doing a lot better. Um, I only get a little bit of a cough if I'm like laughing or if I'm going up the stairs and I get a little bit winded. But otherwise, because we live on the second floor and it's a walk up, so but otherwise pretty good. I still have the sniffles, not as bad, not as bad, nowhere near as bad. But it's still an annoyance. Um, but yeah, I took some cold medicine about like 20 minutes ago, so I hope it starts kicking in. Because I do feel like it's like a little bit of congestion, but not nowhere near as bad as I was feeling. So I'm definitely going in the healing direction. So as long as I'm going there and I'm not feeling worse, I'm happy. Um, Oh, and I did want to show you. So on what day was it? Wednesday. Wednesday. There is, so I don't know if I also told you this, but so one of my favorite plant shops, Planted by Christie's, they actually closed. So they were a rare plant shop, not even 10 minutes away, that Brian, my husband, and I frequented almost every weekend. We literally were there every weekend. We were friends with the staff. It was at the we were there because we constantly like we lived there on the weekends, and sometimes we would go Saturday and Sunday because we would see something on Saturday, leave it because we're like, nah, we don't need to get that, and then we'd go back Sunday. No, we really do need to get that. So we were literally there on the weekends all the time. I even still have a house spider, so um they had this really big spider on a shelf and it had made a really big web and where they keep their pots. And one of the workers there was like, you know what, I need to clean up this web. It's not very appealing and I don't want anybody to get scared of the spider. So he was going to kill the spider. And we were there. I have pet tarantulas. I have pet jumping spiders. I love spiders. So I said, absolutely not. Like, do you have a cup? You have a plastic cup, anything? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, can you give me the house spider. And he's like, sure. And so he just traps it with the cup. He puts a piece of paper and they tape it. Destroys the web. He starts cleaning up, and while we're all talking, I bring this spider home. I released it in in my living room, and it's still there. It's been like, oh my God. I think, oh my God, this was like last summer. So yeah, it's been a really long time. I named him Aragog, and he just hangs out there. And he made a really big web. And he just hangs up in a corner of my ceiling in my living room, and I see him, and I throw him crickets because I feed my frogs and geckos crickets. So I throw him one every week, and he just lives this lavish life there in a corner. So I'm so happy that he's still around. But the shop is no longer around. So the rent in that area is skyrocketing. They were by Queensboro Plaza. If anyone here is in New York City, you know that, or in that area, the condos are going up. And they were just priced out, and they weren't getting enough foot traffic. And it's very sad because they had a really cool um, kind of niche, right? Where they were specifically focusing on these rare species, where you would maybe go to these other plant shops that we really enjoy and find the odd unicorn. It's like where sometimes the owner of the plant shop wouldn't even know what it was that they ordered or what it was that they picked. Um, they just go, oh, this looks interesting, and then bring it and sell it at their shop and not know what a treasure it might be. So they might be really underselling it. Um, and so sometimes that does happen. That does indeed happen. It's happened a couple times where we were like, isn't this something? And then they'd be like, oh no, I think it's something this, which is something super cheap. I've had somebody tell me that a string of hearts, a variegated string of hearts, they sold it for like $10 or $15, something like that. And um, they thought it was ivy. Um, there was another one that I'm trying to remember what it was. It was, I think it was some type of snake plant, like a cobra snake plant, something like that. And the person who worked there tried to tell me, no, no, it's just an aloe. So it does, that does happen. So you can end up going, okay, and it's only $15. So sometimes, yeah, it works in your favor. But planted at Christie's, they were actually going and bringing in these species that were really hard to find, that you had to find with private sellers, or you would have to order internationally, and then hope that they get through customs and that they survive the entire trip, right? So it was super cool, and they had this huge back room with with greenhouses. I mean, it was an experience. So I'm really sad that they had to close. And so right now, they have a sister store in Brooklyn called Nellie's Flower Shop. So they did move some of their inventory, but it's not the same. They lost out on that great like back room with all those greenhouses. So that was super cool. But uh, now other shops are trying to kind of pick up that that niche that has been left, like this gaping hole. So there was this shop, one of the newer plant shops in the area, and he's been there less than a year. Um, Less than a year, I think, about maybe just about a year. Um, and before, it was really just like succulents and some really common house plants, things that you can basically find at different flower shops. However, he had a really great flower pot selection and things like that. So it was very aesthetically very pleasing. And then he started bringing in now really rare plants. And so I stopped by on Wednesday and he had, oh my gosh, where did I leave my phone? Oh, here we go. Um, he had a vase full of Monstera obliquas. And I mean, like a literal vase. Hold on. I don't know if you can see that. So Monstera obliqua is one of the rare types of Monstera. Um, and he just had this vase full of them just sitting there. Um, amazing, amazing. Um, we have one, and Brian has it in his aquarium, getting a lot of humidity because I had them out here for a little while and they were doing okay, and then winter hit, and when we got back from Costa Rica, they were not happy. So so into the aquarium, and then they had this giant vase full of Monstera Thai constellations as well. So he's starting to get in a bunch of different types of plants here. He has, this is one of his cabinets. I regret not taking a picture of the tall one. No, I'm not selecting. There we go. So he has this section where I don't know if it'll work. It doesn't work. Here we go. He has a bunch of air plants up here. And yeah, he has a bunch of different species, and he has a really tall cabinet as well. So I, of course, had to look inside. But he had like these pipers, absolutely gorgeous. Some really, really, really pretty plants. Um, this really cool peperomia. Look at that peperomia, super, super cool looking. And the leaves were pretty substantially like nice size, pretty big. Oh, and then he had this really cool oxalis that I hadn't seen in a while. So these huge pots because of St. Patty's. So yeah, it was really, really cool to see. They were unpacking a bunch of a big shipment that they had got, the escargot. So this is a begonia, super, super pretty. And this is another begonia, gorgeous silver. It's just absolutely gorgeous plant. Um, so I was, of course, losing my mind. And as I was looking at his inventory, and I ended up picking up this syngonium. So I had purchased this syngonium as a small plug, and I had it in my kitchen. And I just learned I have to really stay on top of it because if I don't, they dry out super, super quickly. So I decided I'm going to try again, and I got it again. But this one is staying on my desk. So therefore, I'm staring at it constantly. And the minute that it looks thirsty, I can water it because it's such a beautiful plant. And I was like, oh, I really want to try it again. And now it's really cheap. You know, he wanted what was $15. So a lot cheaper than what I got mine for. I paid like $30, and it was a small cutting. It wasn't even rooted yet. It had a couple leaves on it, but it wasn't even rooted. Then it got rooted. I was really kind of staying on top of it, and then I kind of relaxed, and that's when I ended up letting it dry too much, and it wouldn't bounce back. So I was like, all right, this time it's staying on my desk. So it's not out of sight, out of mind. But this is the red arrow syngonium. So it's still pretty small. I just put it into this black pot, uh, but it has this new leaf coming in. Now, this leaf was all rolled up when I bought it, so it's already opening up. I love that color, but it's this really deep, 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 dark forest green. It almost looks black, so hence why I was like, I'm gonna put it into like like a black pot. And look at that gorgeous burgundy back. Absolutely beautiful plant. Um, also known as the Janocardi Road. really beautiful plant. Um, I'm excited. So let's see. Round two. I don't know about you, but I definitely, if I like a plant and then I screw it up, and I've said this a lot. I say this to my clients, to my students. You know, this is a learning process. So I have definitely had quite a couple species repeatedly, because you try the first time and you're like, nope, I did that wrong. And then you want to try again. Um, as they're super, they're just calling your name, right? They're super interesting. So this is one example for me. Uh, so I had to get it. I had to get it. And now this new leaf is coming in. So beautiful, absolutely gorgeous syngonium. So let's see. I'll keep you updated. So far, it's looking okay. It hasn't crisped up. It's been almost a week. And so far so good. The when I woke up, I did see the humidity in here drop substantially. So I do have to uh, get the humidifiers filled up and get that up, because it is really low today. Um, what else? Oh, I'm not sure if I showed you this either, but I got this at Target. And so, really cute. I don't have anything small enough that will fit. I thought maybe that Syngonium would. Um, but I'm gonna purposely go find something, maybe like a little orchid or something that would appreciate the extra humidity. And I love it. I love it. It's meant to be Easter decor, but I said no, this is plant decor. So hence, um, I'm gonna end up using it. I actually might seal the bottom. So for anyone, if you ever are using anything that has like a wood base with plants and humidity, you can potentially get mold. So if there's anything with wood that I'm using, I like to apply like a Rust-Oleum, like a sealant, or even Mod Podge works really well. Anything you might have on hand as a sealer, just so that if this is going to be in contact with a lot of moisture, you're not going to end up getting mold and then have to throw it out and you lose a base and you just end up with a giant glass egg or just a dome in general, depending on what you might find with a wooden base like that. So, but yeah, that was my little show and tell. Um, really like it. So I'm hoping I can find something. I was hoping I could find like a little begonia at the shop, but he only had those big ones. Um, the only begonias I've kept that I really like, really liked, were the griffin, the cane begonias. Um, the griffins, they're kind of like star-shaped leaves. They kind of reminded me of the Japanese maple leaves. Absolutely beautiful. And they're cane begonias. So they have these really thick stalks and they get really tall. Beautiful. Um, oh, Teresa, that that they hate spiders. I'm sorry. No, I love spiders. Last year we lost our oldest spider, Venom, and Venom. I had Venom since I was 16 years old. And I'm 34 now. So I took that really hard. Yeah, I love that spider so much. Um, and now I still have my other two tarantulas, and so Arachne and Toby. Brian named Brian named him Toby. Um, but yeah, we still have them, and then we have pet jumping spiders. Um, but yeah, I I definitely miss Venom. I have a oh my gosh, I might creep all of you out. This is probably gonna creep all of you out. Hold on one second. If you are scared of spiders, look away. Trigger warning. Trigger warning. If you're afraid of spiders, I will dictate what I'm showing on the screen. And then close your eyes starting now, and I will tell you when to open your eyes. So 3, 2, 1, a spider will appear on the screen. Okay. So this is this is Venom on my face, and I was like 16, 17 at the time. My brother and I raised Venom from when she was a sling, which means a spiderling. So you call them slings, and she was itty bitty, and you can see how big she got. And we loved her very, very, very much. And she was great. She was a great tarantula. So yeah, so please keep your eyes closed. I am removing the spider from the screen. You can now open your eyes and you're safe. Your eyes. So I completely understand that folks have that spider arachnophobia. Completely understand. I definitely lack that fear. Um, um, but yeah, so we just, it's always spiders have always been a really big part of my life, and so I definitely I love spiders. Um, what are you doing? Sorry, my cat is running around. But yeah. Oh, Sue. Sue says it's a good thing I'm eating because I'm drooling over over those plants. Oh, and oh, is it vented? So I think you meant the globe, the egg.
Yes, Jocelyn. Yes.
Yeah. No, no, there's um no ventilation. So I wanted to put something that needed a really high amount of humidity. And then it would just be me kind of keeping an eye on it and letting any if it gets too much condensation or anything, watching it. And yeah, but there's no ventilation. Um, so I want to see Equigenera uh is going to be having a pop-up here in Brooklyn. I think the second weekend of April. I know that the cutoff is we have to put in our orders by this weekend, I believe, because it's going to be the 27th is the cutoff. So if you are in New York City and you want to order from Equigenera, please um, do that now because you have about a week before the cutoff time. And I am thinking if anything, I might get like a really cool mini orchid or something like that that I can put in there. Um, but I want to see what I might grab. I'm thinking maybe some bird's nest anthuriums. I have a super bum and I have a cobra. I think so. Oh no, I have a hooker eye and a super bum. They're bird's nest anthuriums that I absolutely love, and their leaves are big now. So I kind of want to get more of those. So I and then they sell them really cheap. They put them up for like 15, $20. So I might get a couple of those, and I'll see what other types of philodendrons they might have. Because that might be fun. um, Maybe some succulents. I had gotten this guy behind me um, from Equigenera last June, and it was just a stub, and it came back. Now, the only problem is while we were in Costa Rica, it like, I guess because of the cold, it started to get really burned on one side. And then the rest is fine. And then it started pushing out new growth. So I think this leaf is gonna finally go. But it's starting to put out new leaves, and there's a bunch of little ones. It does take a really long time though. So the leaves are not very fast growing. So this has been months in the making. And so I see the little ones, but it's hard to see. You can kind of see them at the base there. And So they're coming in. So I think this one's just gonna go, and these are gonna take over. But this one was last June, so I'm glad that they're coming back. Um, and yeah, I might see if they have any other like Japerdias like this one, or because this is a Nudicalis, right? Oh, not Japerdia, sorry, Jatropha. Jatropha Nudicalis. Japerdia is the new I was like J. Japerdia is the new what's it called? Designation for a lot of the prayer plants and like the calatheas. They have now been reclassified as Japerdias. Um, but yeah, maybe more Jatrophas, any other like caudic type plants. I like plants like this that have these big chambers, kind of these thick stems that are kind of like desert-like or live in tropical regions, but that can put up with high amounts of light and high winds, just like really interesting, sturdy kind of plants. And so yeah, I might try to see if they have any cool species like that. I don't think I'm gonna get anything that's super delicate other than maybe a mini orchid, because they specialize in orchids. They have so many orchids, and they're amazing. They're amazing in terms of just the range of species that you can buy. And I was very impressed with their shipping. So they're shipping from Ecuador, and these plants arrived almost like intact. We only had that issue with the Japerdia, and I think it's because it's a succulent and it just didn't appreciate the humidity, and so they had it like in plastic with like paper, and they had sphagnum on the base, and so the leaves arrived like rotten. Just this was fine, the stalk was fine, but the leaves were gone. They were just mush. But other than that, all of our other plants arrived beautifully. But they're all like tropical, more tropical species. So, um, like we had some philodendrons and some monsteras, and they were perfectly fine. So, um, yeah, it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. Um, Let me see here. What is an easy care beginner anthurium you recommend to get from Ecuageneras? Tanya. Yeah, I mean, I would say either a bird's nest anthurium. For me, bird's nest anthuriums have been the easiest to of the anthuriums that I've ever had to take care of. Um, they're super easy. I like the big leaves that kind of grow from this like circular point. So they don't look very anthurium like when you think about anthuriums. I guess like the common anthuriums that folks find in the stores, like the more heart-shaped leaves and with stalks and things like that. So they're coming from that central point, and I really, really like them, and they get their leaves get really large. So I just think they're such a beautiful statement piece as well. So any bird's nest anthuriums, I think, work really well. Um, I mean, they have them pretty cheap. They do have like queen anthuriums, but those require you would have to have a cabinet, so definitely not easy. Definitely not easy. Um, so I mean, I think from what I saw, I would have to say in the easiest is a bird's nest anthurium that they would be selling. Um, yeah, I think that would probably be the be the best. Um, Teresa says, "Have you had a spider come in on a plant?" Um, I don't think so. I don't think I've ever had a spider, at least that I've noticed, that has come from the plant itself. We did have our we had a one of our jumpers that we had for almost 2 years. Lucas passed away, I think, at the end of last summer, because they only live about 2 years. Um, But Lucas, we also bought as a spiderling, so itty bitty little jumping spider, and he escaped. And I think it was only like day three that we had him, and he had escaped. I thought I had applied the mesh to his enclosure really well, and I didn't. And so he managed to get out, and we were freaking out and looking for him everywhere. And I went over to water the plants. He was loose in our bedroom, and but mind you, it was like an ant. Like it's a very, very tiny jumping spider, but very distinctive coloring. It had a black and white, very, very like bright kind of noticeable jumping spider, and that we had specifically purchased for Brian. So we were, panicked. I was just my heart. I was like, oh, this poor, spiders. I don't know where it's gonna be. I'm gonna be cleaning. I'm gonna vacuum him up by accident. And I was actually watering the plants on one of our windowsills when all of a sudden I look and he was under one of the leaves, just chilling, just under one of my leaves. And I was like, look, and I called Brian and I was like, Brian, hold on. And I caught him. And I was like, Brian, like bring me his enclosure because I can't lose him again. And he never escaped again. He grew into a gorgeous spider. And so we very much enjoyed him. So no, we've never had a spider come in with a plant, but we definitely had an escaped spider that found its way onto onto a plant. And yeah, I mean, we do have spiders that grow. I've had spiders even back here, not right now, but they've moved on. But I've had spiders sometimes come and start hanging out by the plants. They'll make, especially in our bedroom, there is one spider on that same windowsill, but it's a house spider. It's not a jumping spider, and that spider has been there for at least 2 years. Um, and every time I'm like vacuuming, I purposely like shoo it so that it hides, and then I vacuum, and then I see it come back out. So I'm just careful not to kill him. But yeah, they grow around. They're just hanging around the plants, and they're not harming the plants in any way. So I absolutely welcome them if they capture like the odd fungus gnat or anything like that that's trying to mess with the plants. I'm more than happy to have the spider there, so not worried at all. And jumpers do make, they don't spin webs like conventional house spiders do, but they do make hammocks. So they'll make like it looks like a little basket that they'll hide inside at night. So it's a little nest that they'll make, and sometimes they might do that on a leaf, but that's perfectly safe. It's not harming the leaf. There's still a lot of ventilation, so it's not harming the leaf in any way. Worst case, you're not into it, you can remove it very lightly with a Q-tip, um, and the spider will just find somewhere else to to make a hammock. But don't worry, it won't. Just in case anyone sees any any hammocks on their plants, it's perfectly fine. So no worries. Oh, Deanna's asking, will they eat the plant pests? Well, they'll eat anything that they'll capture, anything that's substantial. So something like a fungus gnat or anything that might land if they're a small enough spider. Things like thrips or mealybugs, those stay on the plant, and usually the house spiders aren't actively hunting on your actual house plant, so they're just kind of hanging in their webs. So for that, you need something like a ladybug or green lacewing, um, or something, or a predatory mites. So something that's going to be actively patrolling the plant, and eating whatever it comes across. Um, Connie says, if you have a Trader Joe's near you, they have some beautiful alocasias for sale between $8.99 and $12.99. That is certainly outstanding. That's awesome. Judy, what happens if a plant outgrows, the pot, or my glass egg here? Yes. Uh, Let me see. Um, Yeah, I mean, definitely if something it starts to outgrow, it I can just, I kind of upgrade it. I have a couple terrariums that were old, like fish tanks, that I currently have, that I actually want to upgrade them into plant terrariums. So, and they're much taller. They're about like that big. They were meant to hold like 2 or 3 gallons of water. So they're nice, like compact but tall. And so I want to actually set those up. I've been kind of playing with the idea for a little bit. So oh yeah, if I put something in there that outgrows, I can definitely find something better. So we actually have a greenhouse. We haven't set it up, but it's like a miniature greenhouse, and it's kind of like it has like a dome kind of top, but it's like elongated. And it's like 3 feet long, and I think it comes up like 24 inches or something like that. Um, and for like a table, basically. And so we have a couple of our philodendrons, for instance, that are producing a lot of growth. And if they keep it up for the summer, I'd like to cut a couple and propagate. And so we might set that up for the summer. I'd like to see if maybe we can get some cuttings and get those rooted and stuff. So but yeah, no, you make it work. We make it work. So no worries. If it
Well, you,
outgrows my egg. Uh-huh.
sorry, it's
No,
Judy
no, you're
again.
fine. Hi.
Um, hey, when you said you sealed the wood base to the egg,
Oh, oh,
so
oh, oh.
that's more really what I was wanting to ask.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
No,
No,
it's
no. So
okay. I didn't specify.
no, no, no. So in terms of sealing, I meant sealing the wood. So I'm not going to be gluing this together. So
Oh,
I'm just going to seal because this is wood. So I'm going to put like a lacquer or a sealant that will protect the wood grain so that it doesn't get embedded with a bunch of moisture and start to get mold. So
okay.
yeah, so I will.
When you said
That was my
seal, I
fault.
was
That was
thinking,
my fault. Yeah. No, no, sorry. So I meant seal
oh,
the
that's okay.
wood. Yeah, yeah. Seal the wood. So this, no, you would still be able to take this off, no problem. I just don't want this to get covered in mold. That's all my worry. Um, but
Got it.
yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. No worries. That was my fault. I should have been more clear.
Oh, it's
Thank
morning, so what can I say?
right. Thank you. Let me see. Oh no, Sue, I had a spider bite on my eye as a kid, so I'm not too fond of them. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, and then Deanna, what are the lifespans of your pets? Oh gosh. I mean, some like well, Julia will probably live like 50 or 60. Our cats, our boy cats, they're turning 12 this year. I can't believe it. They're all about 2 months apart, and so all three boys are turning 12 this year. So Jules is turning 12 in May. Mozart is turning 12 in July, and then Maple is turning 12 like end of August, beginning of September. That's when it was estimated that he was born. And Lexi is now, let me see, we took her in 2014. So 9 years, 10, she was already a year and a half. So she's like 10 and a half, I guess. Yeah. So, but all the boys are 12 this year. And so I'm like, um, yeah, my baby boys. I love our cats very, very much, and I am like, nah, 12. I need to be around for like another 20 years. I need them to be around another 20 years. But yeah, and we have one of our oldest pets is our gecko, um, Isis, and after the Egyptian. goddess, and I remember we took her because we used to do pet shows and stuff, so for kids, and like educational shows, and we would take our we would take our gecko, and Brian be like, we have to change your name because Isis means something else to people now. And I'm like, but her name is Isis. He's like, just say it's Iris. It sounds wrong when you say Isis now. I was like, I don't want to change her name. I named her after the Greek, I'm sorry, the Egyptian goddess, and it was, yeah. But I took her in. She was about a year old, and she started leopard gecko, and that was in 2013. So she's 11 now. Yeah. Um, so yeah, reptiles, a lot of reptiles tend to be pretty long lived, and small spiders aren't very long lived. They can live a couple years, but it's the tarantulas, specifically the females. So males only live about 5 to 7 years. Females can live into their 20s, even their 30s. So yeah, we had venom for a really long time. And yeah, and then Arachne and Toby were purchased at the same time, and towards the that was in 2013, towards the end of 2013. So uh they are, yeah, they're about 10 now. So yeah. So they're great. They're great. They make really cool pets, really cool pets. Oh no, DT Ray, my fiddly fig has root rot. Brown leaves are developing. Okay. So, do you know that you definitely have root rot? Is it rotten at the base? If so, you can chop. So, I'm gonna pretend you are a fiddly fig. Okay. So, we're gonna give this plant an identity crisis. So, let's pretend this is your fiddly fig and you have root rot. So, fiddly fig is one of those plants that you can propagate via cuttings. So, if you do get root rot and the base is completely done, just donezo, what you can do is you can cut above the rot. So make sure that your knife is really sharp and has been cleaned. So you could spray it with rubbing alcohol. That works super easily. And you can, if you have clippers instead that are just, that you can actually use, just spray them with rubbing alcohol before you use them. And yeah, just do a cut right above that rot. Now check the inside. So when you cut this, look inside, make sure it's nice and healthy green tissue. You don't want to see any brown or kind of like orangey yellow, where it looks like it might be rotting. So if you still see that, that means the root rot has gotten into the pith. So it's gotten into basically the core. So you want to keep kind of cutting. So you cut a little bit more and make sure you have healthy tissue until you see healthy tissue. And then once you see healthy tissue, then it's fine. You can set that aside for at least like 24 hours. You can just kind of set it somewhere safe. It'll create a callus, so like a scab essentially at the base. And then you can either put it into fresh potting mix. They can propagate in water as well if you wanted to do a water kind of propagation. I'm not sure how big it is, but if it's a substantial plant, then yes, you can definitely cut and put into fresh potting mix. I wouldn't recommend using the same mix. So if you do have active root rot, right, for anyone here, if you have active root rot, that bacteria or fungus that is happily eating the rotting roots is proliferating all throughout that mix. So you do not want to put your new freshly cut section right back into that mix because you have an open wound. Even if you have a slight callus, it's still very, very thin tissue. and it can still potentially get it's still vulnerable, so it can still get some type like attacked basically. So make sure it's fresh. You throw out that old medium, start off with fresh new medium. If you can, a brand new pot, or clean the pot really, really well, fill it up with medium, and then put your Philly fig, back into that pot with brand new mix. Yeah, and it should be fine. In terms of, oh, will a fiddly fig root by the leaf alone? Yes. So if you take a fiddly fig leaf and you put it into water, yes, it will root for you usually. However, it will never grow past that. So you'll have a really cool leaf with roots on it. And I mean, I've done it before and it looks super cool, and it does last a while. It can last several months. Um, but eventually it'll die back. It won't grow further than that because there's no node. If there was maybe a piece of stem and then you have the leaf coming off, but you do have that node, then it would still start to grow. But if it's just a leaf, it'll root, but it'll stay a leaf. So, which you might, it's still cool to do, but it's not like a long lasting plant, unfortunately. Similar to the carrii here, this sweetheart Hoya, where if you have a node, you get this beautiful vine here. But if you have only one leaf, it's just this little heart-shaped leaf in a pot. And we'll stay we'll stay like that for like over a year. They do last. Those Hoyas will last for a little bit, so you can enjoy them at least until the next Valentine's Day. So they
Thank
can
you.
be. You're welcome.
Thank you so much. This is DT Ray. Thank you. I hope I'm
Oh,
saying the right term when I say root rot. And what's happened is the soil is wet and it's compacted, and the roots are wrapped around pretty tight as well.
oh, I mean, if the roots are wrapped around, if they're not jelly like, if they're not
Mhm.
rotting where it smells, because you would smell it. I
Okay.
just got rid of I should have saved it for class. I just got rid of I had a bunch of little panda plants, and
Mhm.
one rotted. Out of the other ones, they were fine, and
Mhm.
one rotted. And it has a very distinctive, like when you pick up the plant, it has like it's a very distinct smell, and it would, like, the pieces literally slough off, and
Mhm.
it's actively rotting. So if the soil is wet, but the roots are nice and plump and kind of beige,
Mhm.
and they look really, really healthy, that might be root bound. And
Mhm.
if it's really compacted and the soil is moist, it's probably because it's root bound, the roots are not able to take in the moisture, so it might
Uh-huh.
stay moist for longer periods of time. That then could be a risk for root rot. So if those
Okay.
roots are still healthy and
Uh-huh.
that's still fine, it might just be root bound. So if that's
Mhm.
the case,
Mhm.
I would say to upgrade the pot. Um,
Okay.
you can go up for like a fiddly fig, you can go up like 2 to 3 inches in terms of the height and the width. So you don't want to
Mhm.
go from like a small pot to like a huge pot. So you're gonna just kind of incrementally go up a little bit so that you can they really like fiddly figs don't like their roots to be messed with. But in this case, if you put it into a larger pot, very, very gently try to kind of tease out
Mhm.
the root ball very, very gently,
Mhm.
just so that they kind of realize that they have a little bit more room to work with. Because if not, if you kind of leave it like that, it'll just keep kind of growing in this circle, and it ends up
Mhm.
actually suffocating itself. Um, so kind of like a gentle tease out, so it ends up spreading out a little bit more. And then that the plant would be fine in that case. And
Oh.
making sure that the mix you put it in does have a nice amount of drainage. So
Mhm.
add some more perlite so it's not like a brown mix. You definitely don't want like a brown mix with your fiddly fig. You want some perlite in there. You want it to kind of look like this. So this is
Yes.
like nice and chunky, and I have like wood chips.
Mhm.
And so you want it like a nice and chunky with there's soil in there too.
Yeah.
But there's like a lot of chunk. And so
Okay.
you want that in your fiddle leaf fig mix because they want a lot of oxygen in their roots. So yeah, I hope that's helpful.
Yes, that was. Thank you so much. I
Oh, you're
appreciate it.
very
Thank
welcome.
you.
Oh, George, yes. It says so. George says yes. Rotting is manifesting, so it might be already advanced into the other parts of the plant. Exactly. So when rot is indeed manifesting, you see it. You can see it, and it definitely penetrates that core. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I guess that like when you have like root rot, it kind of has like an ammonia type of smell, kind of like it's not a very good smell at all. But it's very distinctive when you actually like try to smell the soil. If you're trying to figure out, do I have rot? Because sometimes the roots, right, especially if your soil is moist, they might stain your roots. And so your roots might look a little brown. And so a lot of people panic and go, oh my God, they're brown. The roots are brown. It's dead. And that's not always the case. It could just be that they're stained. So you can run them underwater if you really wanted to check, or just really a touch test. So touch the roots, and I like to roll them. So I take the root and I just roll that root. So if it disintegrates upon you just rolling it, it just falls into little pieces. That is a dead root, um, totally dead root. If it sloughs off, like the top portion of it just kind of comes off, then definitely rotting. So yeah, that it's not supposed to give way. Now the roots can be very sensitive; they're covered in root hairs, so that does cause a little damage. So just be mindful. And not go. It's like soft, but it's just hard enough where it would destroy any dead roots. So any rotted roots or like dehydrated roots that are kind of like just dust, they're ready to become dust. They will, even just in the slightest roll, like slightest touch, they will come apart. So you'll know rather quickly whether that's a healthy root or not. And so if those pieces are actively coming off, that's when you have to head over to the sink, and try to get as much off as you possibly can, so that you remove all of those dead roots, clean the roots really well, and you can start over, once you have all the dead material off. Because the problem is if you leave that dead material on, and then you're like, oh, I got some of it off, some of it's still on, that's fine, let's say, and you put it back into your pot, it's just going to keep the process going. So you need to get as all of that dead root, dead tissue completely removed. So Gabby's asking, can you disinfect cutting tools with vinegar? You can. I'm not sure how. I think vinegar might be a little bit more corrosive to the metal. I'm not sure. I've never cleaned them with vinegar. I've used vinegar in overall like cleaning, of course, but I've never used it specifically on my gardening tools. I've only used rubbing alcohol, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I assume so. I mean, vinegar is great as like a cleaning agent, and for like fungus and things like that. But I haven't used it on any of my like scissors for my plants, or I have a scalpel that I use for my plants. And yeah. And George is completely correct that to disinfect your tools with every cut, otherwise you're just spreading pathogens. Exactly, yes. So you want to be very mindful that you know, I like to spray before and after I use my tools, just in case, just in case, so that there's nothing, you know, you're not spreading around anything, infecting otherwise healthy tissue. So yes, absolutely. Great. That's exactly, George. And George asks for snake plants, Sansevieria, uh, do do you have to root the leaf cutting in water? I got 3 pots of Sansevieria Masoniana. There we go. Last week at from the Desert Botanical Garden plant sales. They don't look fantastic, so I'm thinking about propagating them by leaf cuttings. Yes, so they do tend to grow like with rhizomes. So if you were to kind of go to the base, um, they kind of put out this growth. So you might actually, if you kind of investigate at the base, you can see if there's any actual rhizome left. If there is and it's healthy, I would say root division might probably be the best. You know, of the healthy, of course, the healthy root division might be your best approach. They can be propagated by in water. Uh, it's just there's like a 50-50 chance when you do it. So but you can definitely root a leaf in water for snake plants. Absolutely, you can do that. But it just, I would say, before going and chopping the snake plant up, I would definitely say check just those roots, just to see if you might be able to just do it via a root division, because in that case, it just kind of gives you just a more optimal starting point, than just the leaf. Yeah, so hopefully, there was, where did I put it? Yesterday when we were at Home Depot, I actually picked up this black aeonium. It was the only one they had. It didn't look very happy, but um, and so with this guy, um, there was, when I went to go pay, there was a cutting of somebody had like ripped a piece of the snake plant. And then I was just sitting on the counter and I told her, I said, "Can I take this to root it?" And she's like, "Sure." It was gonna go in the trash. I was like, "Okay." So you can definitely start them off like that. But yeah, you don't worry. You can. Um
Hey,
and
Jocelyn, I have a
oh,
question.
hi. Yes.
And this relates to DT's question about her fiddly
Oops.
fig. So I just repotted mine this weekend because it
Mm-hmm.
had gotten kind of root bound, and of course the roots were girdling around, and some of the roots are actually really, really thick and strong. And so after I had repotted it, some of those stronger roots actually wanted to kind of stick upwards. And I know sometimes with trees, it's kind of hard to. Sometimes those trees want to when those roots want to stick upwards, you don't want to force them back down. So I'm like, do I force this root that wants to stick up out of the soil down, or do I kind of just let it continue to stick upwards? I'm like, what would Jocelyn do? So I'm like, I'm going to ask her Monday. So what I did was I took some of the soil and I over soiled a little bit on top of that one root that wanted to really stick, vertical. I'm like, I'm going to ask Jocelyn on Monday what I should do. Should I force that root back down, horizontally down, like downward down, or should I kind of let it go up? So what do you think on those when those roots are really, really thick and strong? Do you force them down, or do you kind of let them go up kind of out of the soil if they really, really want to? And this is like a 3-foot fiddly fig, so it's pretty tall.
Okay. I would say, so being that they with their roots, so there's a couple reasons that roots will start to grow. Oh my gosh, it's I think they call it a negative geotropism. So basically it's going against gravity. right? So geotropism, it's so positive geotropism is you're growing down, and so negative is you're growing the opposite of gravity, so you're going up. And so a couple reasons why that can happen. So one, it could be just the materials around the root. So it's kind of like it can't grow down, so it just decided I'm gonna grow up. So that could be one option. So it could be to kind of check if what might be like an obstacle in the roots in that area, in like if in the substrate there's anything that might be kind of hindering it from kind of exploring that side of the pot.
It was very
Um,
girdled. Yeah, the fiber was
very
very,
oh
very girdled. The
okay.
fibers were, so I teased it out and
Okay.
yeah.
So then if it's growing like that, then I think, yeah, I've done that where I've had a root that just kind of like does a what is it? Hyperbole? It's like, it just it kind of like an arc. It just starts kind of growing that way. And so I kind of lead it back into the soil, and then I have topped it off
Yeah.
with just not heavy materials. So
Yeah.
like a little bit of perlite, maybe some wood chips, um just where it's not I'm not trying to make like a volcano of materials
Yeah.
on top.
Yeah. I'm not like,
But
I'm not
yeah,
forcing it, but I'm like gently, like kind of
no,
softly.
exactly, and then I'm trying to like lead it back
Yeah.
back in there. um
Yeah.
Yeah, because and then another reason why sometimes roots might go above the soil like that, just so everybody knows, is sometimes is also due to like levels of oxygen. So they might be trying to. So this is, let's say, folks, if you didn't have any girdling, which is like like root boundness, and it's just sometimes the roots will indeed try to like go up to get access to a little bit more oxygen. So yeah, I would say definitely, yeah, what you did, kind of slightly cover it a little bit and kind of lead it back down, um,
Okay.
is totally fine. If you think it's like hindering, or if you start to see that it starts to desiccate, so
Yeah.
that can happen. So if the root is out in the air, and it's just not yeah, it's not working, so that the poor root starts to dry out. You don't want that to like dry out and start to rot, because
Yeah.
it's going to be dead tissue.
Yeah.
So that might call for you to just snip it.
Okay.
So just hold that, just if you start to see that the root really starts to desiccate and looks like it's dead, that you cut it before it can start to actively rot. Because once that moisture starts to hit that like dead dry tissue, it'll just start to break. It'll start to break down once any bacteria or fungus finds it. So yeah, so you might end up having to get rid of it. So just keep an eye. That's happened. That happened with my epiprenum, not epiprenum, epipromoides. My Monstera epipromoides has a root just like that, where it just decided I'm going to start growing this way. And what I did is I kind of let it back down, and it has some sphagnum in there. So I put like sphagnum and wood chips kind of over it. And so far it's working. It's still nice and plump. And it's been months. So I constantly check it. So I would just advise to kind of do the same, just kind of give it a look and see that it's still fine, and not drying out, because you just don't want that tissue to die back. But yeah, no, you're good. You're good. No worries.
I did the right thing then. Good.
Yeah.
All right. Thank
But
you.
Dawson, I have the same
You're
problem with the
yeah.
orchid. I have
Okay.
the same problem with the orchid that it's been a long time, actually. I mean, I've had this orchid for a couple of years, and it's needed replanted for a long time. But it has these two roots that are not going up; they're just going out. And I wasn't sure what to do with them, so I just keep putting off replanting it, because I don't know if I'm supposed to curl them around and put them in the dirt, or just cut them off. I didn't want to cut them off and kill the plant, so I didn't know what to do with them. So is it the same thing if they look dry, just cut them off?
Yes. Well, if they look dry, yes. If they look like they're shriveled up little like twigs now, yes, totally cut them off. But orchids are different in that they're epiphytic. And so orchids, they produce these types of aerial roots, to be able to kind of gather up moisture from the air as well. and also regulate like oxygen and help them stick to things when they're sticking to trees. So that's normal for orchids. If you see kind of like squiggly roots kind of coming out, that's completely normal with orchids. And so, but yes, they can still, like all aerial roots, they can also desiccate. So if they do, I would say to cut them back. Otherwise, you don't need to stick them back in any mix or anything. You can let them just hang out and look wacky. If aesthetically you're like, no, like that's not your vibe, and you're just like, this is, I don't like how this looks, then you can cut them back if you wanted to. So you can do that, but it's much more normal for orchids, definitely.
Okay. Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
I bought stuff that replanted during COVID. I mean, that's how long it's been. And it's still alive. It still looks really good, but it's like, I gotta get this done.
I feel you. No worries. Yeah, they with yeah, with plants too. I mean, a lot of them you think like, yeah, this totally needs to get repotted, and they're fine and they'll be fine. I've seen folks, who was it recently? Someone was telling me about their Christmas cactus, and that it was a great aunt, I think, who's had it in the same pot for over 30 years. And that all that they do is that when the soil starts to kind of get used up, or like it comes out in the drainage hole, so as the soil level drops, they just add extra soil on top, and that's all they've been doing, and it's happy. So I'm like, well, if the plant is happy, the roots aren't escaping, if the soil level's going down and you're not seeing the roots, like it's still, it looks like that pot, and it's like a big old like ceramic pot. If that's working, then that's fine. So no worries. But yeah, so if you think you want to repot and things like that, definitely wait till it's a little bit warmer by you. I'm not sure if you're in an area that's currently in winter. I think today's the first day of spring. Is it? Is it? I think so, for us, at least here in the northern hemisphere.
Yes, it was 22 this morning, so it's kind of cold here.
Yeah, it's still really cold. So I would say to hold off until it gets a little bit warmer, where it's at least like 50 and up, 55 and up, is a lot better, because a lot of plant tissues start to freeze and it just won't bounce back as well if it's super cold. If your home is really warm, then that's fine, because the plant is none the wiser. But if it is a plant that you have by your window and it's definitely being affected by the change of temperature, then yeah, hold off until it gets a little bit warmer. Yeah, I have we keep some of our plants like right by the window, and they definitely know that it's winter. But the plants like back here, they're none the wiser. They think it's nice and comfy right now, so they're still pushing out growth like it's nobody's business. Oh yeah, Tanya, can I do a plant update on my rubber tree? Absolutely, Tanya. Where'd you go? Hi, hold on.
Hi.
Why does that keep happening? Hold on.
Okay, so I got this plant in May of last year, and I think I said in October or September, this and my snake plant in my bedroom, I thought they were fake plants because nothing had changed. It's like they haven't grown, there was this bud at the top that didn't open. It looked exactly the same. When I brought it home in May, about 2 weeks later, one of the little tiny bottom leaves fell off, and since then, nothing. So I did repot it into a chunky mix. It's in the same pot. I repotted it after our call, and since then, the leaves have gotten bigger. Like the leaves look bigger. Like this leaf is huge, right? And I've also switched it from the bedroom into the living room, which is a little more humid in here. and I have a humidifier in here. And but that's it. The leaves have gotten bigger, and I can understand. Oh yeah, and it's a little less leaning because I've been rotating it. When I got it, it had a nice little gangster lean. But the little bud up here is still, you know, I think it's gotten a centimeter longer in the 9 months I've had it. And literally a month ago, when I looked at it, it had like this black casing, this dark casing over it. I see here's a little bit. I had just dropped it in the pot when I pulled it off because I thought it was dead, but it's not. And when I looked at it, because I was like, I'm going to ask one day, and I keep meaning to, it looks like it's like got reinvigorated. But I also heard that if you prune it, and this is the time to prune, if I should prune it here to stimulate growth. So that's my main question, because besides that, these leaves have gotten bigger and they're standing up towards, I guess, the grow light, but it still looks the same. It's like I would swear it was a fake plant. Nothing's happened. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't die, which is good because I'll kill them too, but it's not, the leaves are bigger, but it's not gotten any new leaves. And it got a little chomp here from the swat from the kitten. But besides that, nothing's changed. So I didn't know if I should snip that tip because I don't know if it's dead or not, and if that'll promote new leaves, or how can I get new leaves or growth on here? I guess my question.
Yeah.
That's not going anywhere.
So yes, so that is a growth point.
Mhm.
Being that, I mean, it's that covering. So sometimes what happens is that and this can happen with other species too, where they have like that protective covering, like a casing over that bud, and then if for any reason it dies back, the new bud starts growing right behind. And then you can remove the old casing and you're like, oh, it's dead, and then there's actually another one
Okay.
right under it. But being that it's still not generating anything, it's just kind of been a little stick there for
Mhm.
you for such a long time, you can indeed cut it back. So if you wanted to do that, so cut it back to the node. So right before, so you see it kind of looks, yeah,
It
like
looks
there,
like there was like a little leaf spot. You know what I'm saying? I can't get close
yeah,
enough, but it looks
exactly.
like there's a little circle there.
Yeah. So I would cut back right there, and see if it can stimulate growth.
Okay, so cut
So
above that.
yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So where it connects to the stem, so there's like this little,
Mhm.
kind of like a knuckle, I guess. It's like a little segment. So you're
So
gonna
hard to
cut right
see.
there. So yeah, so you're basically gonna cut off that entire tip.
So like here.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And see. I mean, if you wanted to, even one of the leaves next to it, if you want to sacrifice one, and
Oh,
see, and that might also generate some growth.
like a branch will
Um,
come out from there if I cut a leaf up.
yeah. So if you chop it back to that, again, to the node, so where the leaf connects to the stem.
Hmm.
So don't make it flush to the stem. So it's just
Right.
like a little bit off.
A little bit of an
Um,
angle.
yeah, and
Okay.
it might generate it to start to put out more if you wanted to kind of to make it, yeah, kind of get it going, because I mean, it looks like it's happy. It's like, okay, I'm good. It's just not wanting
Hmm.
to put any energy into into growth. But it looks absolutely beautiful, and those leaves look gorgeous.
Okay.
Those are very happy looking leaves. Really beautiful, plump,
Hmm.
really, really gorgeous. And the way that they look very, very happy. The coloration looks great. Um, so yeah, if you wanted to get it going, sometimes it is chopping it back. This for folks, anybody, if you have a rubber tree, and sometimes they are prone to getting things like spider mites and stuff. If you still wanted to bring it back, yeah, even cutting those messed up leaves will generate it to start putting out more. So You
So
can try that.
would it be better to cut like the defective leaf, let's say, to chop this leaf or
Oh
the
yeah,
one at the
sure.
top? It doesn't matter
Oh,
which one I chop?
I mean, if you wanted to do the defective leaf, sure. So it's still working.
Hmm.
But if
Yeah,
you wanted to pick that one because aesthetically, right? Then
right.
yeah, you can totally
Okay.
do that one
Okay. All
and
right.
try to see, because then usually that stimulates that growth. And so sometimes like even two new branches might, it's like it starts to put out like a whole
Hmm.
other branch system. Um, and so it does stimulate it. For
Okay.
any of you that have also like plants like philodendrons, especially like the vining philodendrons, sometimes they'll get like a little cataphyll. So it's like this little covering, it's like a
Hmm.
papery covering over a node. But then you get a runner, so you get one of those vines that just keeps going and there's no leaves. Sometimes actually removing that little flap will actually stimulate growth on that node as well. So just so that you're aware of that. But yeah, no, definitely pruning it back will, well, it should generate that growth, and so it'll go from uh your plastic plant.
Fake plant.
Yes.
I think it is.
I mean,
Thank
it
you.
looks beautiful. You're welcome. And DT is saying that the roots look orange colored and no smell. So yeah, so I don't think you maybe have root rot. It sounds like it might be root bound, which is much better. So it's a better potential thing that's happening versus root rot. So I wouldn't worry then if they're kind of orangey. So it could just be that they're stained. As long as they're not sloughing, there's no like sloughing off like it's like jelly. Because it does. If anyone here has ever seen a plant with root rot, the roots really do become kind of like jelly. It's really bad. So they could be stained. Um, and as long as they're perfectly healthy, you can just upgrade that pot, and then put in a little bit more of a chunky kind of mix, so that it's not, because sometimes a lot of the plants that we get, so even this guy, I mean, this guy's in a little bit of a better mix because the store that I bought it from, um, they do add perlite to their mixes. So this one does have at least a little bit of perlite. Um, but a lot of the plants that you might purchase from like a store, from like even Home Depot or things like that, a lot of them are it's mostly peat. Um, and so the problem with peat, it's just like brown, and then when it dries out, it becomes like a brick, and then no water can actually penetrate it. But the vice versa, if it gets really moist, it will retain moisture for a really long time in comparison to other types of mixes. It tends to hold on to moisture a lot more. So it's like you lose either way. If it's kept too moist, it's bad. If you let it dry, then like super dry, it becomes like this cement. And so you're gonna have to end up. You can do. Well, I have this guy's a little. Let me know. But you can basically take your pot and kind of do this. When you have one of those nursery pots, you kind of do the spin and crunch. And it's very helpful if you have let your plant dry out, and that happens. That totally happens. And you've let it dry out, and that soil where you basically water it, and the water just comes right out. So like when you're looking at the soil, it's just not getting wet. Um, and you're like, I just tried to water it and the water just escaped. Or you try to bottom water it and it's been like 20 minutes and the water level hasn't changed. That's a very good indicator. That tells you, okay, there's no bubbles, there's nothing, and there's just water isn't getting into that soil. And so usually that's a good indicator that it's incredibly compacted. And so yeah, doing the crunch. Now, if you have a terracotta pot, right? Or like a ceramic pot or something where you can't do the crunch. You can use something like a plastic fork, a barbecue skewer, a chopstick, something like that, where you can kind of make little holes. And what you could do is you can kind of work along the edge at first, but be very gentle. So don't do the stab because you don't want to break your roots. But it's just kind of like going along the edge, kind of breaking that up, and then kind of doing a couple spots in the middle. So what happens by doing that, you're basically breaking up that soil, you're creating capillaries for the water to now break in and permeate through that mix. Because otherwise your soil will be like a really hard cookie, essentially. And that water will just roll right off because the soil becomes hydrophobic. It just won't accept the water anymore. It's just like, nope, you can't get in. And yeah, your plant ends up actually like becoming dehydrated. And you're thinking, well, I'm watering it, and it's the water is not getting in. So the roots are actually dehydrated. So that can happen. I'm hoping that I mean, I understand it's like cost effective for places to use things like peat or something, but yeah, peat is not like a renewable, sustainable resource, and so I hope they kind of move away from using it and maybe use other things like cocoa coir or something that's much more accessible, like coconut coir, like that's something that it's I don't know. I just hope hope less than peat. Yeah, peat's not good.
I have another question,
Yeah.
Jocelyn. I had heard, I don't know, on YouTube videos that I have a black velvet alocasia that I adore, right? And it's
Ooh.
leggy. It's leggy. And I had heard that if yeah, so I put the grow light closer to it, so I did get a little burn, and which is not much, and I even have a kitten bite, but but it's leggy, and I had heard that if I put sphagnum around here, it'll get some kind of aerial root. Is that true? I've never heard anyone else. Someone else said that. And also, if I repot this in a taller pot and bury it deeper, it'll be okay. It's not going to make the stem rot because this is the original pot. It's the original pot. I did change the soil mix, but it's the original little tiny pot that it came in. It's like, I don't want this to break because it's like a lot of weight. And I've been maintaining 5 leaves, and I just got a leaf and I got another one coming in. So it seems happy. And I heard they like to be in root bound or tight roots. So I just don't want it to look so leggy or fall over. So
No, of course. So in terms of air layering, I don't think you can do it with alocasias. I know you can do it with plants that are more like woody or that have those nodes traveling upwards. So alocasias usually have what are known as a corm.
Mhm.
And so they don't have those extra nodes on the top. So I don't think the air layering would generate aerial roots because
Yeah.
I don't think that it would work with an alocasia. I've never seen it done. I mean, maybe it can be, but as far as I'm aware, I don't think it would work with an alocasia. In terms of burying it a little deeper, um, I'm not sure. I would where I personally would be terrified of I find myself when I even buy my plants, I'm removing dirt from what it came, because they bury a lot of folks like when I buy them, it's like they really bury those. I love Scindapsus. I just got another Scindapsus and I was literally removing the soil because they buried it so deep that
Mhm.
some of the leaves were like half in the soil. Um, and so I tend to even I like to remove leaves so that remove soil so that the soil is only below that root flare, like right where the roots kind of start, right there, rather than up higher in that section. So I would be afraid of root rot if I buried it a little too deep. Now, but being that it is kind of compromising
Yeah.
the structure. I mean, the only other thing I could think of is if perhaps
Some better stakes.
yeah, maybe like kind of like maybe like a cage, if they call them like it's kind of like stakes, but they're kind of put in a way that they kind of interlock around the base, and so it holds up
Okay.
the plant.
Mhm.
That might be an option. If you were to get maybe a sturdier, like one sturdier stake, and I mean, it's not going to, allocations are not the type that are going to stick to the stake, but it's at least like a sturdier stake, and then you
Support,
can
yeah.
kind of attach the whole of the plant to it. And so, yeah, because it is that is a very big problem with allocations, is especially when they're getting good light, and I don't understand why. I don't know if it's because it's promoting a lot of growth, what's happening, but even Brian, my husband, he has a bunch of allocations, and they always do this, where they'll get super leggy to the point where they can't even hold their leaf up anymore.
Right.
And so then he has to stake them because there's no other option. And the leaves look great. The plant's happy and everything, but it's just like, why you have light? Why are you getting so long? um, so, I mean, maybe also, if you were to put, um, mm, yeah, I'm thinking that stake, because I don't know if, yeah, I think that would probably be like a main stake.
I do like that idea of a taller pot, but just keep the
Yeah,
soil the same,
and
because at
Gabby,
least.
yeah, keep the soil at the low level, but with a taller pot. I mean, you can
Mhm.
definitely, yeah, try that. Just make sure that it's something, even if you can find something like that's very well ventilated,
Mhm.
like those basket pots or something like that, where it would, if it's going to be substantially taller, like taller and
Mhm.
thinner, but still lets a nice amount
Airflow.
of airflow, um, then that should be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry.
No problem.
Brian literally has the same problem. Like, he just came home. He's like, "What? Oh, you said my name." Of the leggy allocations, when they just get super tall to the point where like they can't even hold themselves up anymore.
They all stay.
Yeah, he just said they all have stakes now. Yeah. So yeah, and even you have the grow light too. You have grow lights, and still,
Yeah, I have to keep rotating.
yeah, he keeps rotating them too.
Mhm.
So yeah. Oh, Gabby said strawberry pots.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. I need to hold on. Let me see. What is a strawberry pot? Is this a different type of pot? Strawberry pot.
Any holes?
Oh, is this? Hold on. Okay, let me share my screen. So this is what came up when I looked up strawberry pot. So is this?
Oh, okay. Oh, that's what a strawberry pot is.
Ooh,
Oh, okay. Good idea. Thank
that
you.
is a really good idea.
Hmm.
That is neat. Huh.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.
I'll look into that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Like strawberry pot. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, and thank you, Gabby. Really, thank you. That I didn't know. I didn't know that's what that was called. It's awesome. And then Shirley, let me see here. What would you recommend using to shine leaves? Oh, good question. So I honestly just use water, water, with like a microfiber cloth. And I like to, if depending on the plant, I try not to cross contaminate. So I do have like a lot of microfiber cloths, and if I really need to give a plant like a good clean, usually if the plant's small enough, I just take them over to the sink, and just with my hands I kind of remove any dust, anything like that. In terms of like something to apply, I mean, I wouldn't recommend really applying anything to your leaves. So um I know there's things like people put mayonnaise. I would not recommend mayonnaise. One, it can cause an odor. It can attract pests. Um, also, it can. So the leaves have what are called stomata. So they're basically little pores that help the plant kind of release excess moisture, take in oxygen, um, release oxygen, take in carbon dioxide, um, and they, yeah, they definitely don't want to be blocked. So you don't want to use anything that's going to end up blocking that. So that's why with like neem oil, if it's not diluted enough, it can cause blockages in the stomata. And the other problem with neem oil too is it makes your plants very photosensitive. So what ends up happening is that it makes them incredibly much. It's like it amplifies the effect of the sun on the leaves, so your leaves could burn for about a week or so after application. I know folks try to use that for like pests, and I just stopped using it because I was like, yeah, no, I can't keep my plants away from the light and then apply it, and then I have to keep them away from the light again, and just it wasn't working for me. Um, but and then some folks get leaf shine products, and those can also be very like it can gunky essentially. They'll block those stomata holes. And it's not very good. And in terms of other things, might end up being very corrosive to the cuticle layer of the leaf. And so leaves themselves already have like a waxy layer. Some leaves have much thicker cuticles, like citrus trees. If you see like citrus trees almost look glossy, right? And it's because they have a really thick cuticle layer. And things even like degreasing dish soap, it can be strong enough that will actually start to corrode that layer. And then that makes the leaf more vulnerable to getting sunburn, to pests. Um, it kind of losing that protective covering that it has. So you don't really want to be putting a bunch of chemicals on there, unnecessarily, because it'll hinder the plant's kind of ability to grow and protect itself. So I only use really if I'm like for just cleaning the leaves, it's really just soap and a little bit of like a Castile soap, like a drop of Castile soap, in like a big thing of water. If they're like super dusty for any reason, otherwise it's just water, water. I mean, I do use rubbing alcohol as a preventative for pests as well, but it's not something that's really going to give you a shine, though it is pretty good for like water spots. If you have water spots, putting a little bit of rubbing alcohol with the water on a paper towel to kind of remove it. I've seen it. It's for like more succulent type leaves. It has been pretty good with any water spots that I've gotten, but yeah, it's really mostly just water. Yeah, water. I hope that's helpful. Um, but thank you everyone um, for hopping on today. I hope this was helpful. Yeah, just go to your local plant stores and see what else, because you know, the new plants are becoming these plants are becoming much more easier to find. There's so many, like I started seeing in Home Depot is selling pink princesses. It's so weird, but there's so many plants now that used to be really hard to find that are now making their way into our into like a regular plant stores. So keep an eye out. You might find a really cool gem. But thank you so much, everyone. I hope that your Monday continues. For those of you that it's spring today, happy spring. Yes, think spring exactly. And yeah, just have a safe rest of your week. And I hope I'll see you next Monday. So have a great one, everyone.
Okay,
Bye for
bye,
now. You're
bye.
very welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Very, very
Bye, thank
welcome.
you.